everyone, and so good to see you on this monumentous and glorious day. Love to have you here, and I hope that we can go forward with a beautiful rest of our week. That being said, welcome to the only show that tells you to pull out your table, take out your TTRPG books, and join us. Did I say pull out your table? Pull out your chairs. It's a day. Pull out your chairs, take out your TTRPG books, and join us at the table. Isn't that just the best thing ever? That being said, let's do a quick introduction. Mr. Michael Powell, tell them who you are and where they can find you on that sweet, sweet internet.
Well, as always, I am Michael Powell, and you can find me all over the internet on my social media, which is at Mr. Kapow. That's MrKapao. And how about you?
My name is PJ McGaw. I am all over the internet at pj.mcgaw, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Come find me. Let's have a good time, and I'll tell you about all the rest at the end of this episode. That being said, Mr. Michael Powell, please give us the introduction to what we're talking about today.
Well, today we are going to do a looky-loo at the new upcoming Fist of the Ruby Phoenix Adventure Path, and recently Paizo has dropped the Pathfinder Fist of the Ruby Phoenix Player's Guide for free. So you can just jump on their site and download the PDF right now. Yeah. So yeah, as I said before, this is going to be a 3-part adventure path that's going to begin with Despair on Danger Island that will be kicking off a in-roll event of the Ruby Phoenix tournament for 4 to 11th level characters. Yeah, this is one of the, I think all the other adventure paths that's released so far has pretty much been for lower levels. They're doing kind of a higher level thing with this one, right?
Yeah, this one's really interesting. So it's a campaign eventually when the actual thing comes out. This is just the player's guide to get you hyped and psyched and give you an idea of what you're about to get into.
Yeah.
And it says you're going to be starting in this campaign, or should be starting this campaign, around level 11. And it promises to end at level 20. That coveted 2-0 that very few players actually get to achieve in a campaign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this adventure path is going to be taking place in the Pathfinder world, their home world. It's an area called the Tiansha, I believe it's pronounced. And this whole story is the sorcerer Hao Jin has returned to Tiansha to host her international fighting tournament, and contestants all over the world have arrived to try their chance at winning a prize from her vault of incredible treasures. Before they could compete in the tournament, however, the fighters first must compete in a series of qualifying challenges on an uninhabited tropical island of Bromu, where wild dinosaurs roam amid ancient ruins of a lost civilization. Can these heroes defend their island stronghold, outlast their many ruthless rivals, and survive the perils of the so-called Danger Island? So it sounds like this is basically, what is it? The Despair on Danger Island is going to be kind of it sounds like a capture to defend your fort type of scenario.
Yeah. I'm definitely getting a vibe from this. And first of all, as someone who loves combat as much as loves narrative and love interpersonal role play, this starting sounds amazing because it sounds like you're in survival mode, taking on horde mode, like hordes and hordes of things.
Yeah.
And you're definitely holding the ground. This mechanically, and we'll touch on it now, and we'll definitely get into more details later. This entire campaign is just a fun campaign. There may be deeper secrets, there may be darker stories, but so far the player's guide is letting you know right now this is going to be basically an anime. Hopefully it's not offensive, but you're going to have a tournament arc later down the road. And right now, you're like Yu Yu Hakusho. You're proving yourself to I can't remember her name, the little teacher that got like 30 students.
Genkai?
And then just, I think it's Genkai.
Genkai,
Yep,
that's the teacher, but she didn't have that many students.
Well, she basically Hunger Gamed a whole bunch of people, winner take all, to become her last student before she quit the whole thing.
Yeah.
If I recall correctly. So this is that first part, but what's dope about it is that you are doing this as a group. This entire
Hmm.
tournament arc is as a group, and they mention later. Um, well, I don't want to spoil anything because we have about 15 pages of really exciting content to get through. But consider your groups wisely. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. Consider your team makeup. It's usually better. I always think it's better because you're playing in a group setting. Everybody try to specialize in one aspect, rather be a totally well-rounded character. But it's yeah.
Yeah,
But
and
anyway,
more details
mhm,
down the road.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um, Usually, you do not want, as a player, you do not want to read the Adventure Path book itself. But the player's guide is going to give you the background, the story, all that stuff. So yeah, you can check out the player's guide. It will give you the background for the adventure you are going to be jumping in. The Adventure Path books, the three Adventure Path books, those are usually reserved only for your GM. Sometimes they do have some extra bells and whistles for players, like a new archetype or a some new backgrounds or items and stuff. But generally, it's mainly for just the GM.
yeah. And as we continue, one of the things that's really cool is that there is a bunch of backgrounds. Now, if you
Hmm.
look at Archives of Nethys, some of these are already on your traditional SRDs,
Hmm.
like Archives of Nethys, and of course the pf2.pfsrd.com. Both great websites. But they're also here. So if you don't know or they're not on your radar, this free material, by the way, I cannot stress enough. They want
Yeah.
everyone to be prepared for this because it's going to be a fun time. Um, all the backgrounds that they've kind of suggested or invented for this campaign is there, and we're also we're also going to try and go through all of those because
Yeah.
they're really quick and they're really fun and they make a
Hmm.
lot of sense.
And
Um,
like I said,
mhm.
in the book, you're going to get information on some of the areas that you will be exploring in Tianjin, like the archipelago nation of, I think it's pronounced Mineta and Goka, the City of Wonders, and also it has a really cool. As a player and a GM, I love maps, and this
Oh yeah,
has a full page spread map of the Tiansa area. So that's
yeah.
really cool.
It's absolutely gorgeous. And one of the things that I think is very interesting about it is how, first of all, the topography is beautiful. Like there's a giant mountain range called the Wall of Heaven off
Hmm.
to the northwest side of the continent. And it's just this amazing mountain range. You also have a bunch of beautiful forests. It kind of gives you this like interesting perspective on like an isolated Pangea, and yet you can tell from the landscape every part of it is a vastly different
Yeah,
world,
yeah.
especially like how Shaguang differs from like the archipelagos of like Minkai and the heavily forested area of Nagajor and Shaohui
Mhm.
and Balashimai Jungle. I'm probably going to butcher that.
The Ruby Phoenix Adventure Path will be a major focus for Paizo for 2021, and from what I hear, it's going to have ties to the new Pathfinder Beginner Box that's going to be expected to release in October. So
Ooh,
that's
that's
pretty cool.
exciting. That's so
And
cool.
like I said, we PJ said before, the vibe that I'm kind of getting from this is, let's see, from anime, Yu Yu Hakusho, Tournament Saga of Dragon Ball Z, uh, let's see, video games, Street Fighter, or was it, let's see, the King of the Iron Fist from Tekken, King of Fighters tournament, or even in comic books, Iron Fist, Tournament of the Heavenly Cities.
Oh, I love that story arc so much. It was so cool to see like oh god, what was it? Uh
Fat Cobra,
Fat Cobra,
Brother Dog,
was it Brother Dog Crane's lovely sister or Crane's lovely daughter?
Crane's mother, I
Crane,
think.
Crane's mother, and it was Spider's sister or Spider's
Spider's lovely
daughter.
daughter, I think.
Spider's lovely daughter. It's been a while since I've read it, but it was a really good, and of course you got Davos with his like his cheater
Yeah.
Iron Fist hand,
Mm-hmm.
uh, which don't even start on the Iron Fist show. That was disappointing both
Yeah.
seasons. But so what's exciting is that the first arc of this, you're going to be proving yourself to the Ruby Phoenix tournament in this amazing survival mode where you have to work as a group to survive hordes of dinosaurs, probably even as a GM, if you want to throw this in there, other players, other groups trying to vie for power to get into the tournament. So as you're doing this, you're already leveling up slowly, right? You're
Yeah.
fighting, you're surviving, you're getting that done with. And this is important for player mechanics. So if you're going on this journey, really communicate with your GM and your players,
Hmm.
because in this playtest, and you'll see it, they get to a point where they mention, and let's be real, the efficacy of some builds may not be equitable. For example, if you go in with a caster, they actually say you're going to do terrific because you have all the prep time in the world once you enter the tournament because it's structured.
Yeah.
You're going to know who you're up against. So really, like, create a spell list of versatile spells for attack and survival, especially because of the
Hmm.
first part, and take your time. But conversely, if you are a crafting class, i.e., let's say you are an inventor, an alchemist, and instead of putting points into like mutagens and bombs or making a robot creature, you put points into crafting potions and crafting physical items. They even warn you in this book, this may not be viable
Hmm.
because you're probably going to do a lot of fighting, a lot of role playing, a lot of action. You're not going to have a lot of downtime
Yeah.
to build
This,
things and then
yeah.
sell them.
This is the tournament arc story. But anyway, you know
Yeah,
what? Let's just jump right in. How about that, PJ?
let's do it. Let's jump right in.
All right.
I'm excited.
Pulling up my PDF here. First of all, I really dig the cover. The cover looks really awesome.
So cool.
Yeah, it's like a tsunami of energy, like sweeping away these terracotta warriors.
Hmm.
Yeah. But anyway, this is actually a pretty, like I said, it's a pretty short PDF. It's free, which is a great price. But if you count the, what is it? It's 15 pages, but if you count the cover, the table of contents, and the map, it's actually 12 pages.
Yeah.
So it's pretty short. But anyway.
Yeah, and it's got some really good lore too.
Hmm.
Like, for example, Hao Jin. Like, why does that name matter? Well, I mean, if I think if you want to go into more detail, Michael Powell, like Hao Jin is very, very important. It's not just the tournament, but to the entire lands of Jianxia.
Yeah, the character in story mysteriously disappeared over 300 years ago. Most of like the executors of her estate pretty much presumed that she was dead, and according to her will, and her will also further stipulated that her treasures will be all held in a vault beneath a grand bank in Goka for and given away one item per decade to whoever can claim the title of the champion of the grand fighting tournament.
So you have that high stake, and there's some really cool history there too. Like, for example, they mentioned a brief story about how a team of Pathfinders actually, I guess there's enough Pathfinders that made a team of warriors. They won the tournament, and what they chose was a tapestry. Let me see if I can get the actual title of the tapestry because
Hmm.
it's in this background. Bu- 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 I'm gonna find it eventually, but
I also want to say this that what's kind of cool is yes, one of her treasures will be given out, but and also the people competing in this tournament can either compete in this tournament individually or as a team. And as a team, you all have to split the same treasures. So you got to decide, okay, if one person has that treasure, what's everybody else gonna get? Or
yeah.
it can even fit into a story that the GM can kind of prepare beforehand. Like maybe this treasure heals one of the characters' parents or family members or something.
Yeah, and remember, like when this is over, you're gonna be level 20. So, what are really your stakes at that point? You know,
Hmm.
you've hit the penultimate power you could possibly have. And the thing is, this is just a look into the world and things to prep you for the baseline. There could be a whole bunch of stories that we don't know about. We know there's going to be because it says so. So Hua Jin vanished, died. Hao Jin, sorry, whatever. But she's come back. She has come back from like I think 300 years of disappearance or slumber or whatever, which kind of prompts the idea of the Ruby Phoenix. I
Hmm.
really do believe the Ruby Phoenix is Hao Jin.
Mm.
At least that's my theory. So where's that coming from? And you can enter as a one person, but it sounds like a lot of this campaign is mostly written for a team of 4 plus.
Yeah.
But what Michael is making a great point is that as a GM, you can change this so that
Hmm.
you can, like, if you have a friend and you just like want to make a campaign for your one buddy, you can give them a tournament arc where it's just
Yeah.
about them,
Yeah. No,
two
totally.
people,
What
whatever you
is
feel
it?
comfortable doing.
Yeah. As you said before about the Haojin tapestry. Yeah, the Haojin tapestry is
Mm-hmm.
actually the artifact that the players in the Pathfinder Society is trying to get from this year's tournament. And they're not the only ones because they also have put down players will have adversaries like Gokai's most infamous crime syndicate that also wants to win this grand prize as well. And this grand prize is, let's see, it says here, this tapestry was, in fact, an entire magical museum world. Haojin
Yeah.
created to save and store people, places, and things she literally plucked from the material plane and wove it into the extraplanar fabric of the tapestry. So it's it honestly sounds like you're getting a TARDIS.
Yes, I'm so glad you said that. Yeah. So, and I only know this because I played a campaign where someone took a museum world and put it into the game, and it was a really cool thing.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, effectively speaking, the Pathfinders did win a previous tournament about 10 years ago. They got the Haojin Tapestry, which is a museum world. It is. Do you remember that episode of Matt Smith Doctor Who, where he meets David Tennant Doctor Who, and because it's all timey wimey, and there's this old painting, and you find out the painting was just a stasis pod for whatever um, shape-shifting alien was inside, and they break out and they take over everything, and then you find Time Lord art,
Hmm.
and then the oh god, fourth Doctor, fifth Doctor. I'm terrible at the early ones. The one with the scarf, he shows up as a curator, and he talks about the new painting called was it Gallifrey? It used to be called Gallifrey Falls, and now it's called Gallifrey Rises Again, or
Stands.
Gallifrey Stands. Thank you.
Yeah.
And
Uh.
it's an entire bit of time
Uh-huh.
history. And that's exactly what the tapestry
Yeah.
was. It was a real world
A
within a
moment of a
painting.
moment in time. But yeah,
Yeah.
like I said, I'm reading through this for the first time right now. I gave it a little quick overlook, mostly the backgrounds, but the history behind this, I'm reading it for the first time, so I'm gonna get some stuff mixed up. But
Yeah.
as PJ, while you were talking, I was reading ahead a little bit. Yeah, you're totally correct. The tapestry was from a previous Pathfinder module, Adventure Path. Even says here the tapestry was disassembled at the end, and occupants of this demiplane was released back to their original locations. So it says here for this year's tournaments, actually, this year's competition is even more exciting than usual because Hao Jin has returned to the material plane after hundreds of years in exile on the plane of Axis, the Eternal City. Rather than dismantle her tournament, Hao Jin has chosen to continue the supremely popular event. More than that, she has even asked the Ruby Phoenix Tournament's Grand Judge to serve as the Ruby Phoenix Tournament's Grand Judge. In this role, she will preside over every match in the Grand Arena of Gokai.
And I'm really excited. Yeah, and don't feel bad. I cheated. I read all of it in between bench press sets last night, so I was like pushing up 225. Like I gotta get stronger and go. Let's read a little bit. But the
Yeah.
one thing I didn't read about was all the backgrounds. So that's where you have a leg up on
Mhm.
me.
All right,
Um,
but yeah, let's just jump in here.
uh-huh.
In this player's guide, we have two areas that they kind of go into. Um, do you want to go through the first one? I'll do the second one. You can do the Wandering Isles, and I'll do the City of Wonders.
Hell yeah. All right, so I'm gonna pronounce it how I think it's pronounced. I'll probably be correct later, but that's cool. Correct me. That's the
Mhm.
point of open discussion. Manata, the Wandering Isles. This year, the Ruby Phoenix Tournament's organizers have chosen to host a first of its kind pre-qualifying event for the tournament proper in Goka. This pre-qualifier will take place on a remote island called Bonmu, which the organizers have playfully dubbed Danger Island, as Michael did an amazing job prefacing with. For just this event, where 32 teams So think about that, GMs. 32 teams will vie for 8 spots to take part in the tournament proper. Bonmu is just one small island in a vast archipelago called Minata in the eastern Tianxia. Like many of the surrounding islands, Bonmu was once part of a sprawling civilization called Taumata, a society where religion and communion with nature played prominent roles in everyday life. Now, although vestiges of the fallen empire have been lost to the sands of time, and no one is sure exactly what caused Taumata to collapse, ruined Taumata shrines and temples still dot certain areas on this island. That's exciting potential.
Mhm.
Competing teams aren't the only danger on Bonmu. The remote tropical island is an ever-looming threat in its own right. Hostile flora and fauna, we know all about those, from poisonous plants to giant insects and even dinosaurs, combine with the natural elements to pose a challenge for even the hardiest outdoor enthusiasts. Although precise details are scarce in the lead up to the pre qualifier, it is fair to expect that exploration, survival, and endurance will play a prominent role in this stage of the tournament. Bring your rangers, bring your druids, or bring your stubborn barbarians. The first leg of this entire campaign is going to directly depend on your survivability before you even get to the combat.
Yeah. Very Hunger Games esque vibes there. Very Hunger Games esque vibes.
Yeah. This
And
is
it,
what you're already starting to see why team
yeah,
mechanics, team makeup is extremely important in this
yeah,
campaign already.
yeah. Jumping in the chat real quick. Lady Alterel, thank you for correcting us. It is Gallifrey Falls No More.
Thank you.
hmm But anyway, Gokai, Goka, I think it's Goka actually. Goka, City of Wonders. For over 300 years, the Ruby Phoenix tournament has been held in or around the bustling metropolis of Goka, the home city of Haojin and most densely populated settlement in all Tianza. Goka is not only the largest city in Tianzhen, but also one of the largest cities in pretty much the Pathfinder world.
Yeah.
The City of Wonders is more than lives up to its name as a vital trade hub and cultural mixing pot for the people from around the globe, which sounds to me a lot like this is their this is the Pathfinder world's version of Hong Kong and Shanghai, really. So
I can kind of
that's how
see
I'm going.
that.
Yeah, I'm going to take that. That's how I'm going to take it. It is also a story locale in its own right with a 4,000-year long history rich with legends and folklores, a legacy of self-governance that survived the oppressive but now defunct rule of the Imperial Lunghua, and a unique culture of risk-taking, gambling, and self-improvement. Yeah, Hong Kong and Shanghai.
I love so much, Michael, that you have an act like a well of reference for this. You can pull from and be like, no, that's what this is
Yeah.
like in China. That is, thank you so much for bringing that.
Mm-hmm. In Goka, anyone can start anew or cement their legacy, find their calling or get lost forever, and make their fortunes or meet their demise. The city offers a variety of breathtaking wonders for all ages in the never ending market. Visitors can purchase several kinds of goods or sample a variety of foods. Okay, sold me there. You just sold me there. Food. uh, at the Ice Fang Airy, crowds gather to watch Drake coursers race overhead. Spellcrafters often perfect their experiments at the Five Pillars Academy in areas accessible to the public, and various performers deliver unparalleled operas in the Floating Lotus District. Perhaps no spectacle draws more attention to Goka than the Ruby Phoenix tournament, held once per decade. This year, with Haojin personally judging the competition, the Grand Arena will be situated near the Ruby Phoenix own personal home in Goka's decadently appointed Cliffside Court District. The Grand Judge has gotten spectators, gamblers, and contestants more fired up than ever, leading to a unprecedented turnout for what's sure to be the tournament for the ages. You know what? I'm getting kind of that vibe, like a more grander spectacle, the Kumite from Bloodsport.
Uh, it's It's such a shame Frank Dux or Dukes, whatever his stupid name is such a sham artist because that movie was such a damn good movie.
Yeah.
Bloodsport 1, so good. I've never seen Bloodsport 2. I really should. It's the rise of, oh God, what's his name? The beefy Asian dude that beat the shit out of everyone. What was his name?
I'm blanking. I'm blanking. But I do love that meme where he's doing this, but somebody turned into he's like on drums.
Yeah.
But I do love that also that line.
Uh,
You break my record, I break you.
and that dude, from what I've heard, that dude was just such a good dude in real life.
Yeah. Really quick, right here. This is where I really want to share because I have a graphic already prepared for this. I'm ready for this episode.
Ooh,
This is the
yeah.
full on map of
Firing on all
Yeah,
cylinders.
right there. It is. It looks good. I love maps. Maps are such a helpful visual tool for players and GMs.
Yeah, and at least for me, I prefer the micro. Like the macro is really beautiful because it gives me a feeling of what the world is like, and you get a feeling from here,
Mhm.
like I said, about how it may resemble a Pangea, but it pays respect to like how every part of the world is a different world. It's a different culture. It's a different
Yeah,
place.
yeah. I honestly like from a. I've been checking out a lot of these adventure paths, as you know, checking it out because might have some plans down the line, but so I don't want to get spoiled. But out of everything, I think this is my number one, and my
Hmm.
number two, I kind of want to say is the one that just came out, Abomination Vault.
Ooh, yeah, I'm really curious about that. I'm really interested in one day. First of all, playing Pathfinder Second Edition. I love this system. I talk about it every
Yeah.
week. I run it every week. I've never played it, ironically. But I'm really curious about about those settings. This one specifically, and also I think I heard somewhere that Rise of the Rune Lords got like a major revamp and redistribution for Second
Hmm.
D, which was my first Pathfinder One campaign, and I loved it. Bearded Skull, you know from the show, ran it. I made a busted, overpowered barbarian, and as we found out last week, barbarians are not hard to make busted and overpowered. So it's got a
Yeah.
special place in my heart.
Yeah, most
Um,
definitely. I also heard that
speaking,
was it Agents of Edgewatch is pretty good.
yeah, I know some people in the chat have mentioned it. It sounds really exciting. It's more of like a mystery campaign.
Yeah.
Which if we ever do get the tower campaign stuff, there's gonna be a lot of mystery stuff there. Hopefully, I can maybe
Mhm.
in the future down the road, I'll start doing the tower campaign. You get a feeling for it, but going back to this because there's something I do want to talk about that's really kind of cool from a meta perspective.
Mhm.
This campaign is made for characters 11 to 20, which is something no one ever can really promise. Is that hey, you're going to actually get to 20. Um, Now, what's really cool is that this campaign, because it starts halfway through a character build, it recommends one of two options. Number
Mhm.
one, use this campaign for the part two of your character's journey. But you
Yeah.
have to really ask yourself if you want to commit the entire end of your story to this amazing journey of combat and growth and role play. Um, so if you already have like a group of adventurers, they're like level 10 and they've just conquered the Rune Lords, they've beaten the Edgewatch, whatever, then you can carry over those teammates, those players, and go from 11 to 20 in the Ruby Phoenix. Conversely, and this may honestly be a little smarter meta wise, they also say you can just create a character starting at level 11. And I almost would recommend that to GMs and players because every other campaign is not going to be like this one.
Mhm.
There is no campaign like this campaign
Yeah.
for a lot of
Mhm.
reasons. So I think you're better off creating a character specifically with this campaign in mind at level 11. And the book even gives you suggestions on how you can do so in a way where money and equipment wise, especially equipment, because Pathfinder 2 really lives or dies on its equipment, will help you transition into a strong enough baseline without all the crazy equipment that you would have gotten from a 1 to 10 journey prior.
Yeah. And they also really recommend for anybody who's going to be any characters that's going to be running through this adventure path, have them have a reason, a good legitimate reason why they are in this tournament. don't make the characters for this adventure path. Don't just like, okay, I'm making a character with his own story and everything, and I'm just gonna throw him in this tournament. You're gonna have more fun. It's gonna make more sense if your character has a reason to be in the tournament of the Ruby Phoenix.
Yeah, especially when, like, let's just say, and I keep using Rise of the Rune Lords because it's a pretty safe example. I think that campaign is a 1 to 10, 1 to 11, maybe a little bigger, maybe 1 to 20. It's been a while since I played it. But let's just say that it doesn't really make a lot of sense when you say, I've built this character for Rise of the Rune Lords. All their stakes, all their personalities, all their history and background is contained to this narrative. And now all of a sudden, you have to give a crap about this truly amazing experience that is so counterintuitive, potentially counterintuitive to why and how you built this character previously. Um, Maybe it still works, and you're like, screw it, we're level 10, we saved the world, we're going to just retire and go play Mortal Kombat Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Do it. That sounds freaking baller.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, there's not a lot of investment long term in that. So I feel like, first of all, do it because you're there to have fun. Do
Mm-hmm.
it because we're going to have a few beers and hang out with friends, and we do this because we love this. But it almost makes more sense to GMs and players if you do this amazing campaign in mind with only this campaign. Make your level 11s and go from there with fresh eyes. Create an
Yeah.
awesome backstory as to why you're level 11 and just go for it.
Yeah, it also even says here, like when you're making these level 11 characters, when discussing equipment with your GM, you might want to also consider items specific to the region for where your character is from, which means it's actually really cool. This kind of draws me back to that whole the movie Bloodsport, because you see all these not only martial artists from Asia but all around the world as well. Or video games like Soul Calibur, where they have like different, like you have the fencer with the fencing sword from, which kind of, I guess, originated from France. I don't know too much about origins of Western weapons. I'm just gonna say that, but yeah. Or you see Volo's, claws, or you have like a bunch of these other characters like the Hammer or uh, Athena. I think her name's Athena. I might be
Oh,
mistaken.
the Greek sword and board. No,
Yeah.
her name is
Sophia.
Sophia.
Yeah, Sophia.
Sophia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She has the sword and board, Or
I love the
Maxi,
ideas.
nunchucks.
Oh my God, yeah. I think it's from the Kyushu Island range, isn't
Yeah,
he? Originally,
I
yeah.
think so.
Which makes perfect sense because he probably would have been the son of a coastal farmer or merchant. He wouldn't
Hmm.
have a sword. He'd probably have nunchucks.
Yeah.
What I
And the
love is
pompadour.
that, oh, and the best pump. I mean, not at all time accurate, but damn, is it slick. This is what I love too because Michael, would you say you're a fan of anime?
Oh, hell yeah. That's
He
that's that's
says to the
where
guy,
that's where I originated, man.
"Hey, dude, I grew up on Dragon Ball Z like everyone else." So
Hmm.
we've all been there. We've all seen the video games, the anime, the movies. The children of the '80s saw so many good martial arts films, and if you're lucky, you got the really good Chinese stuff too, like the classic stuff, the Donnie Yang, the Jet Li, the Chinese Opera House with
Jackie
Sammo
Chan.
Hong and Jackie Chan. Brilliant if you haven't seen them. Um, and Tony Jaa killing it in real fight Thai stuff. My point is this: we've all seen it. We've all gotten a taste. This is your chance as a GM to bring that experience to your players.
Hmm.
Here's a team full of like proto French sword fighters. You're gonna get a lot of really, and if you're a giant like fight nerd like I am, you're gonna have the Italians with Agrippa, Marozzo, Capoferro. Well, Swetnam is English, but Swetnam is still a psychopath. You're gonna get a bunch of like really awesome fighters that you get to recreate in this world.
Yeah, yeah.
And to answer your question, Italians.
Hmm.
We're responsible for rapiers. We're sorry.
All right, Italians. Also want to point out that at least from this player's guide, it looks like Despair on Danger Island, the first book that's going to be released for this adventure path. There's going to be a table of weapons from this region of this area. So it's going to be an
Finally.
addition. So I'm actually really curious to see what weapons are we going to get, because If you look, especially on archives, Nephis, the table for weapons is huge.
It's
The
massive.
massive table of weapons, and you're getting another table of weapons. It says outlined on pages 75 to 76. So it might just be like half and half, like on page. But I'm gonna be kind of I'm gonna I'm hoping there's gonna be 2 full pages of weapons.
See, what I'm excited about that is that like if there's one thing nerds are good about doing, it's homework on weapons. There may be some that drop the
Mm-hmm.
ball in homework on culture, but we love us some cuddy cuddies. So like I'm excited they're gonna be like, hey, here's what a padao is statted as.
Yeah, or honestly, like I think you and me, PJ, we've had discussions about that. I think I'm blanking on the name of the weapon. It's basically the rope dart. It
Oh
should
yeah,
have rope dart. The rope dart weapon should have agility and or finesse. It's a freaking dart on a freaking rope.
both. Because we talked about the stats, and I was like, I was mad with you. I'm like, these stats are not good. This weapon is tremendous. It should have agile, finesse, trip. I don't know about disarm, but grapple. It should be a
Sweep.
D6
I
because the
feel it should
thing
have
hits
sweep.
sweep, and if not sweep, backswing as you're coming
Yeah.
around from another strike. And the thing should do at least a D6, like an actual mace would, because I've
Mhm.
seen it. Those things can break cement and not hard. Like
Yeah.
with an easy flip of the elbow, you're breaking like chunks of stone. That thing should be a
Yeah.
mace.
Yeah. But anyway,
Anyway,
let's now jump into the new character backgrounds. There's actually quite a bit. PJ, why don't you kick us off with the Avenger?
nice. All right, Abadar's
Oh,
Avenger.
really quick, PJ.
Mm.
I got an idea for a little game we could do.
Oh yeah.
After we read each of these backgrounds, let's guess which of the Edge of Legend characters most fits.
Ooh, are we including PCs or NPCs? Like both, one
Let's
or
do
the other?
both. Let's do both.
Ooh, okay. Oh,
I
I'm
think that'd be
excited.
kind of
Okay,
fun. It also
I
ties
like
into
this.
our brand, man. It's all about branding.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Here at EOL, we roll deep with the branding. Speaking of which, before we
Hmm.
jump into this, I want to take a moment to say hello to chat. Reap Psyche, going back to the Soul Calibur bit, he said Sophidia was the sword and board representation. This is Lizardman Erasure. Hey, listen, it was, first of all, Sophidia came first. Secondly, Lizardman was axe in shield towards the end of his reign. So I don't know about that. Lady Alterial says, You're using Benetti's defense against me, huh? Yes, Benetti's defense. Oh God. I could write a whole thesis on Italian Renaissance era sword fighters.
Hmm.
Um and Manor for the Wind was calling it the tapestry named the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. Oh, you bastard, you just gave me a great idea.
Ah,
Oh, you imagine a museum world in a coat? I'm making that a thing.
mm.
Also, Alexiol Reen, like butchering that, Alexiol Reen, great to see you, as always. And Scups and Grebo Lightbrush, love you, great to see you as well. Without further ado, we're going to play our game of read that background, guess which PC NPC it could belong to if they were to be in this game. So, Abadar's Avenger, and thank you, Michael, for indulging me. Abadar's Avenger. Hao Jin really has some nerve for a supposed disciple of Abadar. First, she dares to start a collection of trinkets in hopes of emulating the great Abadar's unsurpassable first vault. As if that weren't enough, she's also set up a contest to give away her most powerful treasures to anyone who can throw a punch. Abadar hasn't directly told you this as much per se, but surely this kind of hubris can't sit well with your beloved deity. Regardless of Hao Jin's own supposed ties to the master of the first vault, at the very least, someone's got to check out the shoddy imitation of the first vault, and write a report for the Church of Abadar. And you've decided that someone is you. With or without the blessing of an actual priest of Abadar, you've taken it upon yourself to investigate Hao Jin's wondrous vaults by winning her Ruby Phoenix tournament. You read a few flyers about the tournament's home city and joined the first team that could handle your righteous zealotry. But any preparation would be a waste of time. You clearly have the divine will of Abadar on your side. But again, no actual proof of this, which is all you need to win this tournament and dispel any notion of Hao Jin's ties to your patron deity. You choose 2 abilities to boost One must be charisma or wisdom. Others are free boost. I love this system for the free boosts. You are trained in religion and the Goka lore skill. You gain the assurance skill. You gain the assurance skill feat with religion.
Uh, yeah.
You can't roll anything less than a 10 with religion
Mm-hmm.
ever
Mm-hmm.
because you're back. That's really cool.
I kind of want to say, you know what? With this, I want to mix some characters up, or add both. So this I feel is a mixture of Chonobis with a little bit of Alona.
I definitely felt like the righteous focus and righteous cause of Alona with a little bit of that hubris of Shonobus, like, I'm supposed to be here. Shut up.
Yeah. All right. Next up is Attention Addict.
Oh no.
Right the name, what? Just the name. You already know which two characters I'm kind of thinking of right
Yeah.
now. But anyway, a roaring crowd chanting your name, your face plastered all over the city, fawning fans begging for your autograph, jealous rivals, endless fame. The promise of all this and more is what drove you to enter this year's Ruby Phoenix tournament, and with your prestigious star power, it's no wonder why they selected you for the pre-qualifier on Danger Island. You got champion stamped all over you. Obviously, the organizers knew a winner when they saw one. It's already clear that you'll be named the Ruby Phoenix champion. The challenges leading up to your prize ceremony are mere formalities, but you're happy to indulge the impassioned masses. After all, the people want a show, and what kind of celebrity would you be if you denied them? You might even design to compete in some fights too, as long as your hair doesn't get mussed. Choose from 2 ability boosts. One must be strength or charisma, and one is a free ability boost. You're trained in performance and gladiatorial lore skill. You also gain the impressive performance skill feat. Yeah,
I
this
oof.
yeah, this is essentially Itchy and Rufa.
Oh, big time, big time, big time. I think the only thing it needed was like, while you don't like to take off your comfortable pants and UGG boots, you will, however, put down your pumpkin spice latte when a face needs to be destroyed, and then it's just right there.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. That's definitely our brand, and I so love it.
Yeah. I love this one also. Like you could actually it's not there's some of these are adventure path specific. This you could actually give this to any character in any
You really could.
situation.
And that's one of the things that I think all GMs and players should be aware of. While these are written or at least hyped to be for the Ruby Phoenix tournament, you could easily take the energy or the spirit of this and definitely take the mechanics and use it anywhere. I mean, if you think about it, the Ruby Phoenix tournament background that we just read is kind of similar, if not identical, to the Gladiator background.
Yeah.
I mean, it almost gives you the same perks, with some slight differences. Next up, newcomer in need. You're a Goken native in a bad spot, and you're going to need a miracle to get out of your current fix. Miracles are in short supply, but the title of Ruby Phoenix champion, well, that just might do the trick. Maybe you need the prize money to pay for a relative's expensive operation, or to free your family from debt to the Golden League gangsters. Or maybe there's a particular prize in Haojin's vault that could literally save your life. An amulet you could use to flee to the farthest corners of the multiverse, or even an artifact that could resurrect you if you die, just like the Ruby Phoenix herself. The tough circumstances of your upbringing in one of Goka's more downtrodden neighborhoods, such as Industrial Old Town, the slums of the Scales District, or even the crime-ridden Undercity, taught you lessons of self-reliance and how to quickly make friends in unlikely circumstances. You scraped together an entry into the Ruby Phoenix tournament pre-qualifier with a team you can trust. Now all that's left is to pull off the impossible and win this thing once and for all. Love that last line. Pull off the impossible and win this thing once and for all. You get 2 ability boosts. One's either con or dex, other one's free. You're trained in society, Goka lore skill, and you gain the streetwise skill feat. Very good for rogues with more of a charisma bent. I can see this going. Ooh, I don't know. I don't know about Woodward. I can definitely see this being Zachmaru for sure.
Yeah. I want to say for of the main cast, it could be a mix of I want to say Chonobus and Itchy.
A mixture. Yeah,
Yeah, a
maybe.
mixture of the two characters.
Yeah, what do you guys in chat think, by the way? Please throw out your opinions wildly and with great wants and abandon. That's what we're here
Mhm.
for discourse. Um,
All right. The next one is actually a rare background. A rare background actually usually means talk it over with your GM first to discuss certain things because you might have to work with them because usually it's there's a power that's kind of I'm not gonna say wonky, but more in depth, you know. But anyway,
mhm.
it's called Ruby Phoenix Fanatic. Have you heard of the peerless sorcerer Hao Jin, also known as the Ruby Phoenix? Of course you have. You're her biggest fan. Okay, you're otaku. You are an otaku and a weeb. This is the Pathfinder version of otaku and a weeb.
I love it.
She's got amazing powers of self-resurrection. Her hair is red and fiery as a phoenix, and she has a huge vault full of the most incredible treasures in the multiverse. Now she's finally back from a mysterious 300-year quest on the plane from the plane of Axis, so she can host this year's Ruby Phoenix tournament. And you can't wait to meet her. In order to get as close to Hao Jin as possible, you research everything that is to know about the Ruby Phoenix home, her planner escapades, and her competition. You're also trained your body to prove yourself worthy as a worthy champion. When Hao Jin's committee invited you and some friends to take part in the tournament's pre-qualifier, you just about fainted from excitement. Is your dream of meeting the Ruby Phoenix about to come true? As long as you win enough matches to get into the actual tournament, you just might. Just try not to act too starstruck when you finally get a chance to talk to her, okay? Choose from two ability boosts. One must be Constitution or Intelligence, and the other is a free ability boost. You're also trained in Axis lore, Gladiatorial lore, and Goka lore. You also gain the Dubious Knowledge skill feat.
What I love about this off the bat is that of all the other backgrounds, you get three skill lores, or yeah, three skills. So they're all lore skills. So the lore is more niche, but you have so many, including the
Mm-hmm.
gladiatorial lore, which is probably gonna have a lot more application in any campaign setting. And I also love there's a character it's creating in my head, and there's a really awesome story arc here where you're like that Western weeaboo who has decided that you're just going to hardcore focus on one small niche aspect of a grander, beautiful, more complicated culture than you wish to really adapt to. And then along the way, along the journey, you realize there's so much more going on. It's not just waifus and body pillows, and you have a deeper appreciation, but you've kind of grown in your aspect of appreciation for the entirety of the culture, not just the Red Phoenix.
Yeah, this one I kind of want to say it's another one of those mix. I feel a lot of these are mixes of our characters. This one I want to say it's a mix of Itchy and a little bit of Woodward,
Mm-hmm.
especially when Woodward when he gets really when he really gets really otaku about his booze, or when he found out about the Godlands.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. I've been writing a storm for the past week, not just for Edge of Legends, but for Jasper's Game Day and a whole bunch of stuff. Just been writing my butt off, which is it's actually been a blessing. Don't make it sound like I'm complaining. Love all of it. Next up, this is an uncommon background, so you can speak to GM about this. Either way, it's going to be something definitely you want to consider. It's called the Second Chance Champion. I already have some ideas where this could be. You competed in the last Ruby Phoenix tournament 10 years ago, though you didn't make it to the end. One wrong step, one mistimed punch, or one blocked spell. Whatever it was, that's all it took for your opponent to get the upper hand and knocked you out of the tournament. Well, maybe it was a simple mistake, or maybe you just weren't up to snuff and you're too headstrong to admit it. Now, after training for a decade to ensure you don't repeat any of your prior mistakes, you've joined forces with a team of fellow fighters in order to maximize your odds of making it all the way to the finals. Whatever happened before, you vowed to return to the ring in Golka for an epic rematch. And this time, you're not walking out until you've been named the Ruby Phoenix champion. Two boosts. One dex or strength, the other one is a free boost. You're trained in acrobatics, gladiatorial lore skill, and you get the catfall skill feat. This is good everywhere.
Yeah.
This is amazing. You're getting acrobatics, which next to athletics and perception are two of the most used physical skills that come up all the time.
Hmm.
Gladiatorial lore, which again is good in any campaign setting, especially when there's entertainment on the
Yeah.
line. In the catfall skill feat, taking less fall damage. I think we all
It's
know how
always
much fall
helpful.
damage sucks.
Yeah, especially
It's
a certain
always
ranger.
good.
I'm surprised a certain ranger doesn't already have it.
To be fair, okay, so to be fair, it was only episode 1 that happened. I don't think she's had fall damage that bad since then.
No, no, there
But
was another
it was
time. There
bad.
was another time.
That was another time?
There was another time. Yeah, go back and rewatch some of the old stuff. But anyway, for this background, I want to say this is a triple. I don't know. This is a quadruple. I want to say
Hmm.
this is a mix of Rufa, Woodward, Itchy, and Morel.
Interesting. Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I can see a little bit of Morel. We'll learn more about his full backstory in the later campaigns to come. I can definitely see some of that. I could definitely see some Rufa. I could definitely see some Woodward, especially with all the stuff happening with the Archdruid that's not happy with him.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
I think I'm putting Itchy
it,
there more for she because from what we know so far of her background is she was a luchadora in Asmacon and then pretty much for some reason had to leave her homeland to I guess I'm just gonna call the area we're coming from as the West.
that's valid enough. I mean, you're on the west, what would be the western hemisphere of this planet. So, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, jumping on to the last and final background here is Undercover Contender. Gangsters and cheats seemed as drawn to the Ruby Phoenix tournament as piranhas to a bloody hippo, and you're dead set on making sure this tournament is as scandal free as possible. Your reasons are your own. Maybe as a high-ranking official in Goka has tasked you with the case, or maybe foul play has led to losing someone dear to you in the last tournament. Maybe you just hate to see fair fighters get knocked out by crooked contenders. Whatever your motives, you promise to be in the ring in case anyone decides to derail the contest. The Golden League Crime Syndicate is the most obvious suspect. What with their meddling in the Ruby Phoenix tournament a decade ago, but maybe there will be other unscrupulous contenders trying to pull one over on Hao Jin perhaps, or an entirely new devious conspiracy hoping to hijack the event for their evil purposes. In any case, you'll be around to deliver the hammer of justice. You've told a small squad of your closest confidants about this mission, and you managed to secure a spot in the tournament's pre-qualifiers along with them. You and your team have to win fights to stay in the competition long enough to make sure things go smoothly. If that means you end up being the Ruby Phoenix champions, all the better. Choose two ability boosts. One must be charisma or dexterity. The other is a free ability boost. And you are trained in deception and underworld lore. You also gain the lengthy diversion skill feat. I'm just gonna say off that this is Rufa. This is Rufa right here. This is
Yep.
Rufa.
This is 100% Rufa. 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Also, this is an amazing background for any campaign and any rogue or investigator. The fact that you're getting a free boost to either charisma or dexterity, that's really good. And also, you're getting deception, underworld lore, and lengthy diversion. Deception is good for any charisma-based character. Bards, social rogues, hell, necessary for investigators. Like, this is
Yeah.
such a good background,
Yeah, I call that
regardless of the
skill. I
campaign
also
you're
call
in.
that skill the fake it until you make it skill.
Oh, absolutely. What's funny is that in Warhammer 40K TTRPG books, there's a skill, not ability, but a skill called Blather. And what it basically does is it's your way to charisma yourself out of a situation. You're talking so much that the person is either confused, distracted, forgot what they were talking about, lost interest in your problems. You're just white noising out of your mouth until you just get out of the situation. And
Oh
that's
my
kind of
god,
what lengthy diversion sounds like.
I have that skill. I have that skill feat in real life. Then. Oh, and jumping in chat, Reap Psyche posted. There has been at least two. I remember being able to say "not again" about her falling to her death, referring to Chonibus. So I.
Okay, all right.
Mhm.
So we'll have to poke Kylie about that because we have at least two accounts where she almost fell to her death.
Mm-hmm. All right. So those have been the backgrounds for this adventure path, and yeah, a few of it you could just use as is for your existing campaign, no matter what it is. Some of them maybe a few tweaks, but overall, all of them you could use for any character. I kind of want to say.
Yeah, and that's always a sign of a good game science, good creation is that when it has a universality, especially for like background, you don't want your background to be so hyper niche that it doesn't make sense outside of the campaign. Like you get a lot of Goku lore, which really is only useful here,
Hmm.
but you could still have as part of your background. Like I'm from Goka, I would know a lot of stuff about Goka. That's kind of
Honestly,
that's worth it. That
yeah,
makes sense.
I can even think even as Charisma based character, as someone who like I'm now leaning Rufo towards economics a little bit. Yeah, you know
Hmm.
how okay, you know the how rare the goods from Goka is, depending on what region you are in the world. Okay, the thing from Goka will sell triple in this area of the world, so I'm gonna stock up here where it's cheap, and then take it to this area of the world where we're going to next and make bank.
Absolutely. And it makes sense too, because like look at actual history. If there's an item that comes from a certain place that either because of trade routes or politics is not prevalent outside of that country, that's a market, that's supply and demand, that's rarity, that's big bucks. Now, as long as you can
Exactly.
do so in a way that,
Hmm.
isn't
Look,
just storming in
yeah.
with colonization and guns going, we're
Hmm.
taking your opium or we're taking your
Yeah.
gold.
I was
You
gonna
know,
say, look at the real world history of the Silk Road.
yep. Yep.
Yeah. Uh,
Absolutely.
Jumping in chat again, real quick. Reef Psyche posted, my favorite motto as a rogue or bard is the only two things you ever need to know is how to lie and how to apologize. That is very true.
That is a very good that motto is a very good indication of an entire character personality. That's a very good line right there.
Yeah. But,
The
yeah.
one thing I want to kind of go over briefly before we decide to go on our five, and then come back for you lovely people to do a really exciting build with you. That I think we're still doing the one we talked about yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna do one quick thing and then go take the five. I want to talk about because on page 10 they have the tournament rules. So if you're going to be going into this as a GM and as a player, you can start prepping with this in mind. It talks about the two different competitions, the Bamu pre-qualifier and the Ruby Phoenix tournament itself.
Hmm.
Do you want me to take Bamu or do you want me to take Ruby Phoenix? Michael, which
Um,
one would you prefer to do?
you know what? You can take Bamu, I'll take the Ruby Phoenix.
Sure. So these are the rules for the Banmu pre-qualifier. Understand that these may be different than the Ruby Phoenix, and the implications may be different as well. Keep that in mind when you're making your teams up, because team composition is very important here. Bomb and pre-qualifier. um, the emissary and his agents are to be obeyed at all times. The emissary's word is final. None shall take violent action against the emissary or his agents. These individuals working for the contest as well as the nations mentioned previously. The emissary employs enforcers around Bamu who have the authority to declare unique challenges. Think the judges from Final Fantasy Tactics 2, or the new one, whatever. To qualify for the Ruby Phoenix tournament, a team must collect a total of 10 silver feathers. A team can attempt to earn feathers by challenging other teams to a match and wagering feathers. All teams must be able to readily present their Phoenix necklace and at least one silver feather to the emissary or his enforcers. So you're probably going to be building this repertoire of feathers to make a necklace and have one left over. No contestant may leave Banmu for any reason until the conclusion of the qualifying round, unless they are disqualified or lose all their silver feathers. Do or die. The qualifying round lasts 3 days, On the third day, any team with 10 silver feathers can visit Mount Hamanabu to confirm entry into the tournament by presenting their necklace and feathers. Once 8 teams have done so, the pre-qualifier is over.
Do
Those are
you
the
know what
stakes. That's
this?
kind of what's
Yeah,
happening.
you want to know what this reminds me of? This is the basically the story arc in Hunter x Hunter where the main characters need to get their hunter's license.
I can see that. I
Yeah,
can
they
see
have to
that.
get the the little the numbers off of the other characters, the pins. This is
Ooh,
basically that.
it reminds me of the tournament arc in My Hero Academia,
Hmm.
where they were in teams. I forgot. It's a kids game they played, but they had that one kid mounted up on like 4 or 5 kids, and they had to take headbands
Yeah,
off of
yeah,
other kids. One of the
yeah.
highest points wins. Yeah.
Now we're going to the Ruby Phoenix tournament. The Grand Judge Hao Jin's orders must be followed, and her rulings are final. Contestants shall not purposely attack Hao Jin or any of her emissaries. Contestants shall not leave the boundaries of Goka until the end of the tournament. Once a round begins, contestants shall not accept aid from anyone who is not participating as a contestant in that round. A contestant who yields or fails to act for a count of 3 for 3 rounds shall be removed from the field of battle and is no longer a contestant in that match. Contestants shall not loot fallen opponents. There are no ties. Oh, there are no ties. Hao Jin shall rule in cases when the winner is not obvious. So this is your just your straight up anime tournament story arc. The meat and potatoes.
Yeah, and that's really kind of exciting because I know like tournament arcs. And by the way, everyone watching this right now, I'm saying this officially. There are 2 tournament arcs scheduled in my brain for the greater EOL timeline. When we actually get to them, I can't say because it depends on, of course, our wonderful heroes. But there will be 2 tournament arcs, and I hope you like them. And I hope the players like them.
Mm-hmm.
Also, what I love about these rules is that these rules are written with GMs in mind because they've basically done a way to stop cheaters and players trying to play the system and game the system. They are stopping murder hobos, which is great, on a number of things here. But they have still created a loophole for players to outwit the obvious. The fact that any contestant who yields or fails to act for a round count of 3 rounds shall be removed from the field of battle is no longer a contestant. Consider how easily that can be done with a superior grapple check or any spell that immobilizes,
Oh
stuns,
yeah.
puts them to sleep. Like, that is a very intelligent way
Mm-hmm.
for a group of like bards, non-fireball wizards, whatever, to
Yeah.
get a one-up on the
I
situation.
want to say grapple barbarians or like very specifically made monks will be very useful in this adventure path.
Good old stunning fist, just boom, and then just
Yeah.
wait a few
Yeah.
rounds.
And also, I know that
Uh,
you said we're gonna take a 5 after this, but I feel there's one more part that we need to go through before
oh
we
yes,
do,
yes, yes, yes.
because this is literally the last part of this player's guide. The
Uh-huh.
forming a fighting team like rules
Yes.
here.
Yes, well, these are mostly suggestions.
Hmm.
What Michael's talking about, and they're really good. Definitely take a look at them because again, if you're making up a whole new group of 4 to 5 players at level 11, and you don't have your brand shtick idea concept yet, like there's a bunch of tables in the back, and I don't want to say any more because I know that Michael wanted to go into. So Michael, please tell us about the tables for forming a fighting team.
Yeah, this honestly reminds me of the Dark Tournament saga in Yu Yu Hakusho. I know we're pulling those anime tropes like hardcore here, but yeah, this is your traditional anime trope like tournament teams. Usually,
Mm,
these teams, at least other than the main characters, they're all themed. They have a similar theme, like the circus team or the assassins team or what have you. You can do
mm-hmm.
that, or you can just make your team like a hodgepodge mix, like Yusuke with Kurabara, Hiei, and Why
Who's
am I
Kurama?
Kurama? Yeah,
Yeah, the Rose guy. I couldn't
yeah.
remember his name.
But anyway, the first table you have here is called Team Theme, which is yeah, roll a d8 and you can determine you whether or not your teammates and yourself all belong to like it could be worshippers of a particular faith or philosophy. You could all
Hmm.
be patriots from a particular nation or region, or a spellcaster with a shared appreciation of a certain type of magic, which an entire group of divination wizards. Think about that.
That would be. You know what's funny about that is I feel like with divination, that could
Mm-hmm.
either be really cool or so redundant that it'd be like, okay, who scribed this fight? We all did. What did we learn? That we're gonna lose. Damn it.
Oh, I also really love this one. You're all from a traditionally underrepresented group of people such as goblins or kitsune.
I love that, especially because that is such a great opportunity for players to play non-traditional ancestries and
Mm-hmm.
really make that like a fun theme. And they even recommend earlier in the book, like kitsunes make a great choice for ancestries for this campaign.
Mm-hmm. I kind of want to say, was it Team Gabo? Team Gabo? Team
Bravo!
Gabo! Also, oh man, one of the first adventure path for Pathfinder 2e, actually, you
Hmm.
play as characters from a circus. Now I think about it, what if you take your characters? That could be the first half of the story, from levels 1 to 10, is from that story. And then that
Yeah.
circus team goes here. That actually
Yeah,
works. That fits.
that could really work. Yeah, I was just seeing too. Rip Psyche was saying that he wants to do. They want to do a circus team. That could be really fun because like one of the things I really wanted to explore with the fact that you guys now own a theater, obviously, is that fun role play of owning a business, but also owning a business that's entertainment based and has multiple components to it. So I think, yeah, being the team that is the circus, you have your strongman, you have your juggler, you have your illusionist, you have your bard who's like the bearded lady.
Mm.
That could be a really cool team mechanic.
Yeah, yeah.
I really
Kind of
like
reminds
that.
me a little bit about that old HBO TV series called Carnival.
Yes, and
Yeah,
that one season of American Horror Story where they're at the freak show.
yeah. And the other two, tables here we have is motivation and personality. Yeah, pretty much all your characters are like either you all want to seek the glory that comes with winning, or personality wise, maybe all your characters are all self-absorbed, narcissistic, or otherwise. That's really fun. But the next table I really want to check out is sponsor. This is actually
Yeah,
pretty cool
yeah, me too.
because as anybody who kind of runs a group, a team, you kind of need a sponsor, and I could see like the Pathfinder version of Nike or Adidas, like sponsoring you.
Well, what's really cool about this is that they kind of leave it open to many different interpretations of a sponsor. Like the
Hmm.
first one, and I love this, is the sweat off your own brow. Your sponsor is your own hard work and underdog determination. And it can go as far as a mysterious benefactor unknown to some or all of you. So, like, there could be a rich, powerful entity backing you, or it could just be like five dudes, and I mean like DOOD, like just dudes just struggling to become successful in this tournament.
Do,
Like it's
do you
it's really good.
do you know what would be really cool? What if your mysterious benefactor is actually Hao Jin? You don't know it at first. It gets
Yeah.
revealed like in the last story, last adventure path
See,
installment. But maybe
and
she's
yeah, I was gonna say that's a great GM hook. So sorry, I was
yeah,
looking
that's
at
right.
the page I couldn't see it.
But yeah,
Oh man.
yeah, that's really cool. And then we also have some other tables, which is pretty much self-explanatory, like origin. You might all come from like the same village, or all come from a certain guild. You might all have kind of a similar weakness or strength, and also there's even a whole table about quirks.
It's one of my
Yeah.
favorite ones because it's the thing about quirks. When you read it on page 13 of this free guide, which I'll put up a link if we haven't already for this free guide up, it's just fun things that adds more flavor to the personification of your team. The very first one out the gate is you hired a musician or band to follow you around and play exciting music during your matches.
The what is it? The bard from The Witcher just follows you around. Toss a
Exactly.
coin to your Pathfinder.
See, what's great about this is like you get to add some really cool like moments where you can have player DJs and GM DJs play
Mhm.
music to hype you up. And because it's not actual magical bards, there's no rules broken.
Yeah,
It's just there for
I,
a good old fashioned badass.
I like the second one because we have been making so many anime references.
Yep. Oh
Always
god, yeah.
announce your attacks or maneuvers, most of which have outlandish names like the Stinging Dance of the Night or Ultra Mega Quick Punch. That's
I
anime.
this
That's anime.
this is inspiring me now. What I would love to do as a player, GM also I could do it as a player is really exciting. You have a team of five anime tropes or five anime characters, of course, with a twist so that it's not so obvious. Like you could get like the guy who's very clearly All Might, the guy who's very clearly Goku, the lady who's very clearly Sailor Moon, whatever. You get these characters, and then you get in the match. And next thing you know, you're just like United States of Smashing, Kamehameha, like Moon Prism Power. I don't remember all of her attacks. The Tiara
Mm-hmm.
is one, and you're just living your best weeb life on
Yeah,
this journey.
yeah. I mean, you can even go with wear memorable matching outfits or coordinated hairstyles. I'm just picturing either you're all Power Rangers or Sentais,
I was just thinking
or
that you're a Sentai group.
yeah, or imagine, oh man, the two playtest classes we discussed recently was the inventor and the gunslinger. So
Mm-hmm.
imagine an entire group of gunslingers or entire group of inventors. Maybe they're all inventors of the same subclass, where they're all inventors who specialize in making armors, or all inventors specialize in making weapons.
I think that could be really interesting. I know obviously you don't want to have the problem of having too much
Yeah.
redundancy, and then you kind of run out of like, okay, now you've just the potential to be so diverse has now just kind of come down to, yeah, but you're either not doing anything well or you're only doing one thing well because everyone's doing it. So now you run that risk. But that's
Yeah.
that's another reason why party balance and party makeup in this campaign is so important, because you have to go from surviving the Hunger Games to surviving the Heavenly Tournament, and you have to have enough flexibility to survive both well.
Yeah. So anyway, that has been the Fist of the Ruby Phoenix Player's Guide, uh, recently released from Paizo for free for the next adventure path that they're releasing. What do you think, PJ? Final
I
thoughts?
I am so excited because I've never seen a campaign like this where it's a lot more heavily based on the action and choices of the player. I'm sure when the campaign comes out, there will be much more story elements. But one of my biggest joys is finding role play in combat. And I think this is an amazing opportunity for players and GMs to fully explore role playing in combat as a group. I'm so amped for this.
Same. Also, the fact that you're not only exploring this really cool area in the world, you're exploring your character's entirety of abilities because you're going from level 11 to the penultimate level 20. So you are going to be you're gonna have to be what's the word I'm looking for? You're gonna need to know how your character works.
Yeah, starting a campaign off at 11,
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to be easy. I remember when we did Ra's Rave Party, and by the way, I'm super stoked to doing another all god play
Mm-hmm.
party, and try out new gods and things like that with you all. But you guys were starting off at level 25, level 30. That was already a headache, just because there's so much content you guys had to
Yeah,
get used to.
yeah,
But now imagine starting that off at level 11, where you already have about 10 levels of class you have to understand and prep. And yeah, it's not nearly as heavy as 30. There's still a lot of power you're going to have to adjust to, taking and dealing.
mm-hmm.
That's a bit of a learning curve.
Yeah. So anyway, this is the Ruby Phoenix. I honestly, this is going to be, I want to say this is, yeah, I'm going to say this is the top adventure path that I want to play personally from the
Yeah.
already, of the release Pathfinder modules.
Yeah. What do you guys think of the chat? What do you guys think of the comments? Are you excited about this? Is there anything that sounds cool, exciting? They're like, oh, that's dumb, that's lame. Let's have a dialogue. Like, I think this could be a really fun thing. If you start seeing problems now, let us know. Worst case scenario, Paizo does a last minute curveball and fixes some stuff. And again, we don't know the entirety
And
of the campaign. We just have a really good base of what we're going to experience.
yeah, and I'm also really hoping, because usually in these adventure path they release a couple of archetypes. I'm
Mm-hmm.
hoping we get a couple of really fun ones in the 3 books that they're going to release for this.
I'm really excited. I feel like we're gonna get the backgrounds and maybe some like new magical items. I don't know if we're gonna get new archetypes just yet, but we will find out around October of 2021 or later in the year of 2021 when this is officially released by Paizo. I have gone ahead and put the link in the chat. It looks like it's got some issues. It's not fully complete. Please copy and paste as your leisure. Um, and we're going to take, oh, let me take one more look at the chat because Penguin Witch Doctor showed up. Great to see you, Penguin Witch Doctor. They said, okay, if I ran this, I would totally run one of the NPC groups as 4 halfling monks that get thrown by a minotaur. Uh,
I'm
I
down for
love
that.
it.
I'm down for that. I'm down for the fastball special, yo.
Yeah, that's what we can call Team Fastball Special or Team Fastball. And there we go. That was the absolutely free, you can find it right now online, playtest material for the player's guide to the soon-to-come highly anticipated Fist of the Ruby Phoenix campaign coming out later in 2021. Look for it sometime in October. But without further ado, it's time to say goodbye. Mr. Michael Powell, please tell us your thoughts, who you are, and where we can find you on that sweet, sweet internet.
I am looking forward to playing this adventure path, and as always, I am Michael Powell. You can find me all over the internet on my social media, which is at Mr. Kapow. That's MrKapao, or my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Michael Powell Does Stuff, or my YouTube channel, which is Fantastic Tales of Adventure. And on Thursdays at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, you can find me on the Toyzilla Network Twitch channel for a show that I co-host called Toyzilla Live, where we talk about toys and nostalgia stuff. A lot of fun. How about you?
My name is PJ McGaw. I'm all over the internet at pj.mcgaw, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Come find me. Let's have a good time when I'm not here with Mr. Michael Powell. Tuesdays, 3:30 to 5:30 p.m. You can find me here, same that channel. Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time as the GM of Edge of Legend, our homebrew, amazing world, Pathfinder 2nd Edition show. I'm so excited. They're going to go to the Sand Sea, which is a lot of crazy stuff, and I hope they survive. Also, as always, on Saturday with twitch.tv/Gilding Light, owned and operated by Satine Phoenix, the amazing Satine Phoenix. I'm doing a show with my friends Ryan Omega, Tobias McCurry, Izzy Spring, and you know and love her, Sam Sterling, for Poison Tulips. So come check us out 1 to 3 as we are a bunch of bards and we're just getting into chaos everywhere we go. It's just beautiful madness. I think this week we're going to be having Michelle Nguyen. I think I'm saying that. My apologies, Michelle. On the show, she's going to be an amazing guest. Super excited for that. More details about some other potential secrets and surprises and all good stuff as time progresses. So looking forward to that. And until then, I'll see you same Nat time, same Nat channel here at the table. Be safe.
Bye.
Bye.